After years of gaslighting the injured, smearing whistleblowers, and cheering on the silencing of ethical doctors, Canadian media now pretends to care. They labeled cautious Canadians anti-vaxxers for daring to think for themselves, and now they act shocked by the chaos that they helped create. You don't get to rewrite history. This is from the National Citizens Inquiry, a citizen-led and citizen-funded public inquiry into the health protection measures taken by all levels of government in Canada during the COVID-19 pandemic. And they are 100% right about Global News and their recent story on the vaccine injured. So let's get right into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Johnny Says So. Make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel on your way in if you're not already. So Global News has recently put out a couple of stories, actually, about Canada's Vaccine Injury Support Program. Now, this is a program that was supposed to help Canadians who were injured by taking the COVID-19 vaccines that they may or may not have been forced to take. Now, it seems, according to this story, that most took it willingly, but we all know, guys, not everybody did. There were those that had to take the vaccine in order to visit a loved one in a nursing home, or maybe they wanted to see their child play sports, or maybe they wanted to do something as basic as go to a restaurant or get on an airplane and travel across the country. Our charter rights were violated in such a way during the pandemic, and I think it's important that we don't forget. So, while I am glad that Global put out this story, I can't help but be a little bit skeptical and wonder why now? Because, guys, Global News, CTV, CBC, and other legacy media organizations for the longest time were saying the exact opposite of this. They were denouncing anybody who had questions about the vaccine as conspiracy theorists, kooks, anti-vaxxers. I remember it like it was yesterday, and the gaslighting has never left my mind. And that's why I find this so strange. So this is the Global News article, and they have a whole splash screen set up here. They really went all out on this presentation. So you can see here when you click on the article, immunized, injured, incensed. And you scroll down here and you get this little presentation here. The people you're about to meet feel, scrolling down, discarded, invisible. Some have been unfairly labeled anti-vax. That was you, Global. That was you just a couple of years ago. Again, I remember this like it was yesterday. Let's keep going here. Mothers, fathers, social workers, pilots. Now, this isn't InfoWars or the Epoch Times or something. This is Global News. Like millions, they lined up to protect their fellow Canadians by getting vaccinated. But they are some of the thousands who are seriously injured. COVID-19 vaccines were widely considered a scientific marvel. The government cautioned that serious side effects could occur, but they were rare. It promised to financially support those who were seriously injured by creating the Vaccine Injury Support Program, or VISP. A consulting company got the contract and tens of millions of taxpayers' dollars to run it. But inside, some workers say it was chaos. 4 years later, many of the injured are still waiting for help. Here are their stories.
I have not gone public ever, and not very many people even know the cause of Stephen's death, because I do not want to be the poster child for the anti-vax movement.
That just goes to show you how deep the propaganda and the fear-mongering and the groupthink mentality that was going on in Canada at the time. Think about this, guys. This woman just watched this product kill her husband, and she is afraid to come forward because of what people might think of her.
Stephen McDougall was 45, a father of two with an entire life ahead when he died.
Myocarditis post-COVID vaccine.
His widow, Kimberly, was told a new federal program would help people financially if they were seriously and permanently injured. The Vaccine Injury Support Program, or VISP.
It's like a lottery, right? You never think it's going to be you.
The government hired an accounting and consulting firm, Raymond Chabot Grant Thornton, now called Oxaro, and paid them tens of millions of dollars to run VISP. But Global News spoke with vaccine-injured people and former workers across the country who say that program is chaos. Unskilled staff running a system unequipped to handle thousands of claims, leaving the injured waiting months, sometimes years, for help.
It got to a point where everything was a battle.
After 11 months, VISP approved Kimberly's claim and paid a death benefit worth roughly 3 years of Stephen's former salary, the maximum amount allowed by the Public Health Agency of Canada.
3 years was the maximum amount allowed for the payout of a COVID-19 vaccine death. Now, that's not nearly enough, guys. Now, obviously, there's probably not enough taxpayer money in the world to make these people whole, and it would be very expensive. But I would like to propose that maybe Justin Trudeau and maybe all of the provincial health ministers that lied about this product and CEOs of media companies and pharmaceutical companies, maybe they should have nothing left. Maybe they should have to give every dime of what they have to these people. Justin Trudeau should be on the street with all of his assets given to people like this woman. He should be left in the tent cities that he has helped create. This is how strongly I feel about this issue.
And while VISP claims it will continue to support you for as long as needed, for Kimberly and her children, that meant only offering to pay for enough therapy to cover weekly sessions for a little over 3 months.
And then my kids are supposed to be fine. I'm supposed to be fine.
When COVID hit, Canada was the only G7 country without a vaccine injury support program.
We kept telling people, you don't want to stand these things up right in the middle of an emergency.
But during a pandemic,
we're creating a federal support program.
That's exactly what happened.
What we saw from global experiences, things don't go great.
And they didn't.
Thank you for contacting the Vaccine Injury Support Program.
Shannon DuPont's claim was approved.
To speak to a dedicated case manager.
And yet 4 years later, she's still battling VISP. With each of her 3 COVID shots, Shannon's health got worse. Vision loss.
Again, guys, with each of her 3 COVID shots, it got worse. At no point did she think to maybe stop taking this product? Because again, the propaganda was so fierce and the groupthink mentality was so strong, you really didn't want to come out as an anti-vaxxer or a conspiracy theorist. It's just, it blows my mind how bad this time was.
An autoimmune disorder, Bell's palsy.
My face literally looked like it was melting off on one side.
Unable to work, VISP said it would pay for her lost income and some of her injuries.
I'm on case manager number 9.
But error after error, she says.
They seem to lose everything and then you start all over from scratch.
Has left her $180,000 short.
I definitely cashed out every investment I had. I actually remortgaged my house.
Since 2021, the federal government has paid Oxaro $50.6 million to run VISP. Only a third of that, $16.9 million, has reached the injured.
So where's the money?
That is pretty much standard in Canada. The government contracts eat up all of the money and none of it actually goes to the thing that it was supposed to go to. God, these people are just so egregious.
Money going.
In an email, Oxaro said it aims to provide a process that ensures all cases are treated fairly and with the same care, respect, and due diligence. It says its invoices reflect actual costs, reviewed and approved by the Public Health Agency of Canada. As for its timelines, it says that depends on each claim's nature and complexity. Stephen McDougall's widow says he would have still believed in science, although she no longer believes the government is there to help.
They promised to take care of us. They didn't fulfill their promise.
The Public Health Agency of Canada declined an interview, but says it's reviewing the program and concerns raised. Meanwhile, the Federal Health Minister, Marjorie Michel, reached out to us saying the allegations we've uncovered are completely unacceptable, that she's asked the Public Health Agency of Canada to find a solution and that all options are on the table. Carolyn Jarvis, Global News.
Again, when they say all options are on the table, this better be up to and including actual consequences for these people and the lies and manipulation that they used on the public during this time to get people to comply and take these experimental injections. Now, look, guys, I'm sure, 99.99% of the people who took them are fine for now. But don't forget, guys, this program only compensates for injuries that are known immediately after the vaccine. What's going to happen 5 years down the road if you suddenly have myocarditis? There's no doctor in the world is going to sign off and say that, oh yeah, that's related to the vaccine that I personally gave you 5 years ago. It's not going to happen, right, guys? Like, something needs to drastically change here. These people actually need to be accountable. We need to see consequences for these people for once. Now, what is the point of an inquiry or an investigation if nothing comes of it? Now, in addition to the report that Global put out about just a few of the many people who have been killed, injured, or maimed by this vaccine, they also put out a video about the firm that was contracted out to run the compensation program and just how disorganized, unprepared, and quite frankly, childish this organization was. Let's check it out.
I didn't feel like I was there to work. I felt like I was there to kind of hang out and socialize.
This former employee, whose identity we have agreed to protect for fear of repercussions, says working at the Vaccine Injury Support Program felt like high school.
There was definitely no shortage of phones out, watching YouTube. The slushy machine was cool. Ping pong was definitely a regular thing.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the slushy machine and ping pong. Unbelievable.
The federal government hired a company called Oxaro to run the program and paid them $50.6 million. Global News spoke with more than a dozen current and former Oxaro employees, whose comments included working there was a joke, with drinking Fridays, inexperienced underpaid staff who weren't properly trained.
I don't think anyone actually understood the severity or the relevance of the program that was being contracted to the firm.
The Vaccine Injury Support Program, or VISP, was created to provide financial support to people who are seriously and permanently injured by vaccines. People like Ross Whiteman.
They're just doing a piss poor job of supporting the vulnerable.
A former commercial pilot and realtor, Ross was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome after receiving his COVID vaccine, a rare but recognized side effect. His claim was among the first to be approved by VISP. And yet 4 years later, every day is a fight against his body and the program.
Safe and effective. Safe and effective. That was the line Global News and the legacy media organizations parroted for years.
At the moment, I'm probably out about $25,000.
In its policy for VISP, the Public Health Agency of Canada said the injured will have fair and timely support. But Ross Whiteman waited nearly a year and a half while unable to work for a full injury payout, 3 more months for income replacement, and still regularly battles the program for his medical expenses.
It could take a month. It could take 12 months.
Some former workers say there was no sense of urgency. There was an amount of work you were expected to finish.
Every day.
And you weren't hitting those targets.
No, probably well below.
They were hitting well below those targets because it's quite obvious that they underestimated just the amount of claims that would be put through this program. And don't forget, guys, the claims that actually went through this program are probably wildly, wildly low for what they should be. There are thousands of people out there probably that are in denial that the condition that they now have is related to the vaccine. They've doubled down big time.
What was lost in the program were the people.
They were merely names on paper, nothing more than that.
Today, Ross Whiteman is on his 7th case manager. He's lost his health, his savings, and perhaps worst of all, he's lost hope.
We're such a small group of people, I just feel like it's on to the next one.
In a statement, Oxaro said this is a new program, and it aims to provide a process that ensures all cases are treated fairly and with the same care, respect, and due diligence. It says its timelines depend on each case's nature and complexity. Carolyn Jarvis, Global News.
Now look, guys, I have no idea why Global News is taking this position now, after vehemently saying the opposite for so many years. Perhaps maybe they feel that public opinion is shifting and they want to rewrite history before they are looked at as the monsters that they are. But I just want to drive the point home here and show you a couple of older articles from back in the day to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So here's Global in March of 2021. Now, this was when the AstraZeneca controversy was really heating up, with blood clots being recorded in some of the very first people to take the vaccine in Canada. Blood clots not a safety concern for AstraZeneca vaccine. Officials, again, doing the job of Health Canada and the pharmaceutical companies in pushing this product out to Canadians. And now, if you look just a month later in April 7th, possible link between AstraZeneca vaccine and rare blood clots, EU drug regulator says. April 23rd, second rare blood clot linked to AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine confirmed in Hamilton, Ontario. And shortly after this, if you can remember, guys, there were a few deaths reported in Alberta before public health agencies, public health ministers across the country started recommending that older people, the ones who are supposedly most vulnerable to COVID, not get the AstraZeneca vaccine because it wasn't worth the risk. And most egregiously, here's this one. Low COVID-19 vaccine uptake in young kids concerning as viruses swirl, doctors say. This is the worst one, guys, because here's Global trying to scare parents into thinking that their young children need a COVID-19 vaccine, which on record has an increased risk for myocarditis for this age group, an age group that, quite frankly, was never at a risk of COVID. Now, I've had Dr. Chris Milburn on the show before, which if you haven't seen that interview, I highly recommend you check it out. But that's one of the things he likes to drive home, is that no healthy child in Canada died of COVID-19. And here's the legacy media trying to scare you into giving your children a dangerous experimental product. Now, there are many people out there that have the position that we should just forget all of this, but to that, I say no. We can never forget what was done to us during this time, lest it happen again. And that's my show for tonight, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And as always, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.